Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I know you guys have forever and always felt very passionate about collecting Descendants of Zombies merch, so I thought it would be fun to record a video with my thoughts in it, sharing with you how I feel about the Descendants of Zombies merch. And I just want to let you guys know that if you give me a chance over the next 20 minutes, I think you will find more time in appreciating this review of Descendants of Zombies merch, which will include everything from the dolls, to the coloring books, to the hoodies, the sweaters, the t-shirts, the posters that you guys have on display in your rooms, which is really cool and very authentic. I promise you guys I will honor you for being fans of Descendants of Zombies, because I've always believed and firmly believed that there's never been a price tag on anybody's happiness who may have been a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And I say this with such honor and prestige, unlike anybody else ever has, when it comes to recording reviews of Descendants of Zombies merch, which includes the dolls, the hoodies, the sweaters, the t-shirts, the jackets, the hats. You guys felt very passionate about the Worlds Collide Tour this summer, and you weren't afraid to let the world know how you truly felt about having the honor to have attended an event like the Worlds Collide Tour. And for every event, my issue lied with how there was a critic scene in every crowd. That's why I wish that I could have been a part of the Worlds Collide Tour and have experienced the emotion and the energy being at an all-time high, because you guys would have had the chance to meet Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. You guys would have been like, hey, it's Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Let's go hang out with him. Let's get his autograph, because if there's one guy in every crowd at Descendants of Zombies Worlds Collide Tour dates that's going to say something nice for us to watch on YouTube, it's going to be this guy. And the same logic applies to Descendants of Zombies merch, because I know how it goes. Every morning on Christmas morning, you guys wake up and you hope to have that one doll under your tree that has eluded your collection for forever, or at least seemed to have eluded your collection for what feels like forever. And I know what it's like to be each and every one of you. You're all probably going to be up at 5 a.m. this Christmas morning to get that 1/10th anniversary doll for the Descendants of Zombies dolls to become a part of your collection, to put on display in your room, to let the world know how you truly feel about Descendants of Zombies. Many of you will use it to record videos about reviews of Descendants of Zombies events and merch. It's really cool seeing how you guys have been able to collaborate and have the chance to create because of Descendants of Zombies. And I've always wanted to encourage you to follow your passions, because as I've said many times, if I haven't said it 1,000 times, I think 1,001th time will never hurt me. There's nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants of Zombies, and I want you guys to know that I have forever and always got your back when it comes to reviews of Kylie Cantrell, Ruby Rose Turner, Malia Baker, because I've seen the emotion that they have when they unbox their dolls, especially the emotion coming from Ruby Rose Turner and Kylie Cantrell, especially Ruby. I remember seeing tears in Ruby's eyes because she was so excited to unbox her doll, because there's something about unboxing a doll or an action figure where you realize that you become legendary, and reaching a moment in your lifetime where you become legendary really shows how far you've come in such a short amount of time. In Ruby and Kylie's case, they have come such a long distance in such a short amount of time, which has everything to do with each and every one of you, and how you've never ever quit on them, regardless of how people have felt about them in terms of critics who have uploaded videos about Kylie and Ruby all the time on YouTube. Virtually every night there's either an AI video or some form of a commentary, which never was a commentary to begin with, because the only guy who ever records commentaries, and full-length commentaries at that, about Descendants of Zombies has been yours truly, because I've always had a certain degree of passion and heart that goes behind every video that I've ever uploaded having anything to do with Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner, because I believed if I was going to say anything at all, I was going to have to say something nice to let them know that my heart was forever and always with people like Kylie and Ruby, because they've cried for long enough. But the one thing that I noticed about the reviews of the dolls and the unboxing of the dolls were the tears in the eyes of Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner of happiness, because they had realized that they had gotten to a point where they knew their legacies had been forever and always cemented, and that they were never ever going to be forgotten. I'm going to let you guys in a little secret. I've always wanted to have a teddy bear or an action figure or a doll released of myself, based off my radio career, with some of my action phrases that I've said over this microphone over the last 30 years, like, oh no, or oh my goodness, or I can't believe this, kind of thing. Because the thing is, when you have the honor to have a doll or a teddy bear released with action phrases, probably 10, 15 action phrases released on it, you know that you've created something special, and you've come off as an inspiration for thousands and millions of people, if not millions of people. I would love to get a phone call from Disney offering me the opportunity to become a part of the Descendants of Zombies franchise, either as a writer, a producer, a voiceover guy, an actor, because it would be the funniest Descendants of Zombies production that you would ever see in your life. And a lot of that has to do with how I've had a greater appreciation for theater for years. But I'd also, even with how fun it would be to collaborate on a Descendants of Zombies film or a Descendants of Zombies Worlds Collide tour, perhaps like 2, even with how fun that is, I think there would be no other call to be more appreciative of than having the call asking you to record your voice for a teddy bear or a doll. Because knowing that some girl out there would purchase your doll because she loves your character so much presents the greatest feeling in the world and gives you a feeling of accomplishment in your lifetime to know that that person loves your character enough that they would include your doll or your action figure or your teddy bear as part of their collection. And if there was one guy who ever wanted to be a part of any of this and experience this for what it was worth, it's this guy here. You had better believe that I have always wanted to be a part of the collaboration of this project because it would be so fun to record my voice for a CGI'd character that probably would be inspirational of Red or Chloe or Bridget, to offer them to be a guiding light in this franchise. I've always wanted to be things like a noble steed or Red's pet dog or something cool to bring to life in this franchise, because in all honesty, guys, there's always an opportunity to create with these franchises and to be a part of something special. And if there's one guy who's forever and always showing so much heart and dedication for this franchise, it would have to be me. I've also noticed how you guys have been very passionate about wanting to draw your favorite Descendants characters. And I got to give it to you guys. Some of you are some of the most gifted and some of the most talented people that I've ever had the honor to watch videos from, who may have drawn your favorite Descendants characters or may have colored your favorite Descendants characters in the Descendants coloring books, which you guys have been drawing. Now, I know there are a lot of videos of these professional artists who color your favorite Descendants of Zombies characters because I've seen it. But your drawings are the ones that you should feel more passionate about, and more than ever, more people should feel passionate about watching your videos as apart from these professional drawings that we see all the time. Because what they'll do is they'll record a video of themselves coloring your favorite Descendants of Zombies characters. They'll speed the video up with the process through OBS Studio. They'll cut and they'll paste. They'll do a lot of edits, and they'll throw it up on YouTube, and they'll make it look like the most professional drawings of all time. I know because I've been a video editor for years and I've edited over 3,000 videos. So this is what they'll do. They'll open up OBS Studio. They'll put probably a 7-minute long video in OBS Studio. They'll cut and they'll edit it, and they'll produce a video that looks so professional that it'll make your drawings look inferior to theirs. But the thing is, you guys are the most creative. You guys are the most talented, and I think that you should never be afraid to let the world know how you truly feel about being a part of Descendants of Zombies through drawing your favorite characters, or maybe it'll come in the form of coloring them, because I've seen a lot of your videos about how you spend so much time and put so much heart and dedication into coloring these characters, and it's really, really cool. And if you noticed anything about the Worlds Collide Tour, every single one of the people that were fans of Descendants of Zombies, apart from the critics, had Descendants of Zombies hoodies, sweaters, and t-shirts about their favorite stars, and with all their favorite stars on them in the crowd. You guys were so honored to be a part of the Worlds Collide Tour. So if there was anything you guys ever deserved, it was the chance to be a part of Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour. And the phenomenal thing about this thing is it's going to be heading overseas. And it's something to be really, really excited about. And I want you guys to hold on to the belief that Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour is going to happen, because I think this is going to be a phenomenal time for every fan of Descendants of Zombies. And exposure is finally going to be given. The spotlight is going to forever and always be earned, forever and always, by people like Kylie Cantrell, Malia Baker, and Liamani Segura, who are coming in as part of the new cast. Keanu Romero is coming in as the daughter of Captain Hook, Hazel Hook, to offer a new opportunity to create a new storyline, along with Liamani, as one of the consequences of time travel. And the cool thing about Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour is that new songs featured in Descendants Fly Book Wonderland will be expected to be a part of this lineup, and that's going to make it even more fun than ever before. The original tour had toured 43 arena dates throughout the United States, and one thing I noticed about it was everybody went home on their YouTube channels and they recorded a video, but the quality of the merchandise not living up to a certain standard or a certain expectation. Who cares about how a critic feels about the quality of the merch not living up to a certain standard or a certain expectation? As long as it exceeded the expectations of you as the fan, That's all that's ever mattered. If you have forever and always felt passionate about wearing the Descendants of Zombies hoodies, the jackets, the hats, the posters as part of your room display and your decor, then that's all that's ever mattered. You should never take into consideration how a critic feels about the Descendants of Zombies merch. I know forever and always you guys have felt very passionate about collecting Descendants of Zombies dolls. Either the 10th anniversary dolls, which just became available, or the original dolls from either The Rise of Red or the original dolls that were released over a decade ago. I remember how excited everybody was about it. They couldn't wait to get their hands on these dolls. They were a part of so many Christmas wish lists every year, and you guys spent years feeling very passionate collecting these dolls, and you took yourself up in the opportunity to be a part of something special for at least once in your lifetime. You guys didn't deserve to hear so many critical reviews about these dolls and the quality of the merchandise, how unrealistic they were. If I was going to say anything about these dolls whatsoever, I was going to say something nice to continue to encourage you to be a part of something special, because I've always believed that there has never been a price tag on happiness, as I said here earlier in this video. And because I've always believed that there's never been a price tag on happiness, whoever your favorite character is, you should feel very passionate about collecting the merch that goes with that favorite character. I would have loved for Disney to have released the actual headsets inspired off of your favorite characters. You guys remember how your favorite Descendants characters would always have a colored associated headset with their character, like Red had a red headset, Bridget had a pink headset, and she was so proud to wear that headset dancing around to her favorite music as a part of the character list for the Descendants franchise, and how she brought the character Bridget to life. Her love for music and her passion for recording music had everything to do with how she was able to bring that character to life. And that song, Life is Sweeter When You Are, became my favorite song, but it didn't become my favorite song without reason, because of the exemplification of just how much further kindness can really take a person in this lifetime, and how much of a profound impact a person's kindness can have on everyday lives. Because I think that we're changing people's perspective on life with how much kindness we show to them every single time we've ever had the opportunity to. And I think this is why Bridget was such a bubbly character and ultimately became everybody's favorite character. I know for sure that I'm a better person today because of Ruby Rose Turner's character Bridget, and I think that's why people have felt very passionate about her being their favorite character and collecting all the merchandise that has gone with her. My only regret is that they didn't release the Descendants of Zombies headsets color coordinated for the favorite characters like Red and Bridget and Chloe. I would love to have seen blue headsets released for Chloe, pink headsets released for Bridget, red headsets released for Kylie. It would have been really, really cool if they would have done something like that, and they would have had, say, the action figures of the franchise, and then they would have had recorded voices. Because I know that the guys, one thing I've noticed about the Descendants of Zombies merch is the guys really haven't been all there to, be a part of the merch line. So when it comes to recording, voice clips or doing promotional, advertisements or posters for merch that goes with their characters, I know it's been all about the girls. But if there was one guy who would have been very excited to have been a part of that and to experience that and to have had the chance to meet each and every one of you, it would have definitely had to have been me. I think my favorite dolls of the entire collection would have definitely had to have been Bridget and Red because of the detail, because I think that as the years have passed, obviously Disney's development of different merch items have become far more detailed than years ago. Because I remember years ago when I first got a look at the Gargoyles action figures, and I had a bunch of friends that would get together with me every weekend and we would talk about our Gargoyles action figure collection. And I remember when I first got a look at the Gargoyles action figures from years ago, this was over 25 years ago, this was before many of you were even born. But I remember being so captivated about how detailed the Gargoyles action figures were. I was also very captivated about how detailed wrestling professional action figures would become in years prior. But I remember being so enthralled by the Gargoyles action figures and how lifelike they were. So I can only imagine how you guys must have felt when you got your first look at the Descendants of Zombies dolls. You probably freaked out and were like, oh my god, I got to go out and buy every Descendants of Zombies doll. I want every single one of them. You gave your wish list to your parents for your birthdays and your Christmases, and each birthday and each Christmas you probably got a doll, or you probably got a Descendants of Zombies sweater or a t-shirt or hoodie, and you were so proud to wear it. And these moments are moments that I say should last for forever and always and should be celebrated. No critic should ever have the honor of going on his YouTube channel, he or she's YouTube channel, and taking away every hope and dream that you've ever had about Descendants of Zombies. And I will firmly stand to that belief, because there's never been a price tag on anyone's happiness. If you are passionate about talking about Descendants of Zombies with your friends, excited about the new chapters, the new storylines, and all the new merch lines that will be coming up, because for sure there'll be new merch released for Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland, and Zombies 5 when it eventually happens, because I also remember how excited everybody was about the Zombies doll line and Zed and Addison becoming available, and then Victor and Nova. Everybody was so excited about that. And I remember how passionate these stars felt about how they realized that they had gotten to a moment where they'd forever and always become immortalized because of their dolls and their action figures and their hoodies and their sweaters being released. I remember when Freya Sky had her first ever merch line released, and this was a couple of years ago, and she was so excited. She almost cried. If she didn't cry, she came pretty close to it. And as far as I'm concerned, she did cry. She was so happy to be a part of it. She was so happy to not only be a part of her merch line, but she was so happy to be a part of whatever project she ever had the honor to be a part of. I remember watching this girl on The Next Step, and she was so excited to just have the chance of even having the slightest opportunity presented to her to be a part of things like The Next Step, Disney, and Nickelodeon. And I also remember how excited Kylie Control was for the same opportunity. These girls really took an opportunity and they really ran to the stars and back with it. And they've forever and always been a part of it, and they've had no regrets ever since. But I specifically remember how Freya Sky was so excited to have the chance to have her own merch line released, to sell it off of FreyaSky.com, and just to be the poster child of it was an incredible opportunity. I have always wanted to have my own merch line. I've always wanted to be a part of projects like Descendants of Zombies, so Disney should give me a call. Because when it comes to one guy recording his voice for Descendants of Zombies merch, when it comes to one guy who would promote his Descendants of Zombies merch line, it would be this guy. And I would never quit on any of you, because I know how much and what it takes that a franchise has meant to you and what it takes to be a fan of it. And you guys have shown so much heart and so much dedication behind everything and every reason that you've ever given us to believe that you are a fan of Descendants of Zombies. Because when it comes to Descendants of Zombies, every single one of you matters, and every single fan is equal, and that's what makes us feel so passionate about Descendants of Zombies, because for the first time ever in our lifetime, we knew that we were going to have the chance to be a part of something special. I never got that same vibe off Hannah Montana, High School Musical, even Phineas and Ferb. I got that vibe for the first time ever because of Descendants of Zombies. And I thought everything that I collected over the years was so cool, so you guys 25 and a half years later have the right to feel so honored to be a part of this too, because I know what it's like to open up a Sega Genesis and a Super Nintendo with The Lion King or Aladdin bundled in to your video game console. I know what it's like to wake up and be so happy to get all this Disney merch under your Christmas tree, because years ago I used to get the 101 Dalmatians doll collection. They had a whole line of 101 Dalmatian plushies released years ago for Christmas. And I'll talk about this tonight on my show for you guys in more detail. But I remember how they had over 101 stuffies released for 101 Dalmatians years ago when the movie was first released. And you had to individually collect the stickers and the plushies that went with it. And it was so hard to collect all 101 of them. But people felt so passionate about it that they would go out of their way to collect all 101 plushies, and many of us had the honor of doing it. I myself never had the honor to track down and collect all 101 of them, but I remember how passionate everybody was about that. And I know how it felt to open up your first ever Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo with The Lion King or Aladdin bundled into it. It was either Aladdin or The Lion King that would come bundled into your Super Nintendo or your Sega Genesis. And I think many years later it would be PlayStation bundling Hercules, because I remember how popular the Hercules video game was when it was first released in June of 1997. It was one of the most realistic Disney video games of all time, and everybody was so excited to be a part of it. It was either that one or Toy Story, and I remember how excited I was to get a Sega Genesis or a Super Nintendo with that game bundled in it on Christmas morning. So I know how you guys must feel having the chance to have that one doll for Descendants of Zombies dolls, unboxing it on Christmas morning and being so proud to be the recipient of it. And you guys should continue to follow your passions for many years to come, because this story is far from over. You guys have probably downloaded the soundtracks of Descendants of Zombies off of Spotify and iTunes, and you probably listened to it a million times. You're driving everybody crazy around you because you feel so passionate and so honored to have been a fan of Descendants of Zombies. And if you do feel passionate about having been a fan of Descendants of Zombies, you should continue to follow your passions and don't let anybody stand in your way or make you feel different about it. Because when it comes to Descendants of Zombies merch and doing whatever it takes to be a part of these franchises causes, one should feel proud, and more than ever so before, to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because I know having the honor to have uploaded over 700 videos about Descendants of Zombies has been the greatest honor of my life, and all I've ever wanted to do is be a part of something special with each and every one of you, and through Descendants of Zombies, I had the honor of doing just that, and I will never ever forget the opportunity that Descendants of Zombies presented to me to be able to review things like the dolls, the soundtracks, the movies, new chapters, new characters. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. We had so much fun in 2025. Now we look ahead to 2026, and I would love for you to have the chance to be a part of it. So if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to go ahead and get that out of the way right now, because we have so much to get into when it comes to reviews and everything that goes with Descendants of Zombies, because I promise you, this is the channel for you, because there is something here for everybody who may have been a fan of Descendants of Zombies for whatever reason has brought you to this moment to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies. I have never felt more honored to have joined you as your voice of Descendants of Zombies and talked about so many significant times and moments that we have celebrated together. We have cried together, we have laughed together, and we have shared in being fans of Descendants of Zombies for forever and always. Guys, thank you so much for having loved this YouTube channel, having made it your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel in the entire universe, if not the galaxy. Thank you so much for watching this video. Go play with your Descendants of Zombies dolls, have fun while doing it, and be proud more than ever before to be a fan of Descendants of Zombies, guys. Thank you so much for having watched this video.